still happening. Where is Zoom? Okay.
Otherwise, everyone's just gonna be looking at my belly and nothing else.
Can we just twist it slightly round?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you were like, I was like, you were going over it. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
Okay, hang on, let me just make sure that it's.
Okay, it does look like
That
it's
it
live.
is live. Yeah, you're good, you're live. Go for it when you're ready.
Hello, we are part of the Red and Black Song Club. Red and Black Song Club have been going for 7 years in Glasgow, meeting every 2 weeks. And we are not a choir. Enthusiasm is more important than singing proficiency. We talk about the history and radical culture surrounding the songs, and we enjoy the pleasure and soulfulness of singing together and how it connects us to radical struggles and the wider working class through time and place. So we also sing in order to have songs that we can take to protests, picket lines, marches and occupations. It lifts the mood and it connects those struggles also to other struggles that have happened. And we meet on the second Monday of every second Monday at 7 p.m. currently at Space, which is in Glasgow. We'll tell you this later. But we're very open. We're Red and Black Song Club. I think you can Google us, and please don't feel that you have to have any particular strong singing ability, just a desire to sing radical songs and to feel connected to other struggles. Yeah. So we're going to go through 5 songs. We'll talk a little bit about the history of each song. We'll lead it, and please join in. Please don't feel intimidated by fear of your voice. My voice is terrible, but I still sing because singing belongs to all of us. So that's us. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll start with just a little bit of a warm up, just to warm us up. So to begin with, we'll just start with doing some movements that whatever our body feels it needs to do. You don't have to stand. Whatever you've been sitting all day, maybe some non-sitting movements would be nice, but also I've been cycling all day, so stretching out my legs feels like the right thing. So whatever your body feels like it's ready to do. Ooh, and some noises. Any weird noises that just pop out. Wonderful. Bring them all out. And then obviously nice lion breath. So nah. 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 And then we're going to do a little warm-up. It's going to warm up the full range of our voice, but without worrying too much about scales or anything like that. As Ali said, we're an all abilities choir. We don't stress about such things. But yeah, so we're going to go. I'm feeling what for you is the full range of your voice. That's the point of this, not worrying too much what anyone else is doing. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is a little exercise, which is more just to be a bit silly, because if we can be silly in front of each other, we can definitely sing in front of each other. So here we go. So we're going to start with face. Big banana. Big banana. Big. The final warm-up exercise is just to get into a habit of singing loudly, whatever our voice might sound like. All voices are welcome, and using it to as loudly as we can. So we're going to start by humming with our mouths shut, and then we're going to hum as loud as we can possibly hum, and then after 3, 2, 1, we're going to open our mouths, and yeah, we'll be singing accidentally as loudly as you possibly can. So We'll start with. So that is how loudly we can, as a room, sing. So that is how loud we can make every song if we wish to. So now we're going to move on to the first song, which I believe Ali is going to introduce.
Yes, so we're going to sing Bella Ciao because everybody likes it. It's a very good song. And so looking at the history of the song, the history goes back to the 19th century when Mondinas, who were predominantly women, I think all women, rice tenders in northern Italy, and they had a really horrific job. They were walking around these rice paddies up to their knees in water, barefooted, bent over the whole time, weeding the rice paddies, making sure the rice was kept nicely. They were punished for talking, so they started singing, and they developed call and response singing in order to also share protests about their working conditions. A lot of them were in left-wing parties. There was an Italian women's union that looked quite cool, and that was going on, but there was also communist parties and socialist parties at the time. During the Italian fascist period, 1952 to 1943, most left-wing groups were driven underground, but because they were so important for the rice, they were able to strike and force their working conditions, and they wanted concessions from the fascist government, which pretty much no one else did because of their power and strong solidarity and strength together. Under the Nazi occupation of Italy, they just refused to work, loads of them, they just left the fields, which is pretty awesome. And they were very active also in the Italian resistance. So Bella Ciao was one of the songs that they sang, but they sang it with different lyrics. And it wasn't actually sung as a partisan song during the Second World War, during fascism, that fascism. But afterwards, I guess because of the connection between these awesome women who had this amazing history, and it was their song, some lyrics were adapted to make the Bella Ciao version that we know. And it's been used subsequently as a strong anti-fascist song. And it's been used all over the world. It was Colombia, Europe, Turkey. There was loads of references to it being used all over the world. And then if you look at the lyrics, you can kind of see. We're going to sing it in Italian. Go through the lyrics in.
No, well, I wasn't that organized to translate them all, but
So one morning I woke up and the invader had come. Oh, partisan, carry me away. Carry me away. That's the second verse, for I feel like I'm dying. And if I die as a partisan, you have to bury me. Bury me up the mountain of the shadow of beautiful flowers. That's Bel Fiore. And the people will pass by and they will say, what a beautiful flower. This is the flower of the flower of the partisan who died for freedom.
Sure. So now we're going to give a shot at singing it, I think. And as Ali said, it's in Italian. Italian is mostly phonetic. So if you see a letter there, it mostly sounds like that letter there, apart from the C's. So as you can see here, like the Bella Ciao is a C, but we use the CH sound there. And then the other place where there's a C that sounds something different is K, which is CHE, and so it's tutela gente che passeranno. So other than that, just your first pronunciation of these words is probably pretty decent. So
and also
yourself.
with the G, if a G before some consonants just makes it nasalized it. So like for Montagna, is spelled MONTAGNA. So that GN means it's it adds a new.
So us seeing the first chord, the first verse, and then I'll go back and we'll just give it our best shot going through it. As we said, our style of singing is more about hearing our own voices together and the solidarity of it. We're less worried about being perfect singers. So it starts with Una mattina mi son svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Mattina
mi son svegliato e oggi faccio il
passo. Partigiano, portami via.
Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. Partigiano, portami via.
Che spero di morire. E se muoio da partigiano, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao.
Se muoio
Da partigiano, tu mi devi sempre dire, e seppellire lassù montagna. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. Lassù montagna, sotto l'ombra del fiume, tutte le gente che passeranno. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 tutte le gente che passeranno. Mi diranno che bel fiore, questo è il fiore del partigiano. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao.
e questo è il fiore
del partigiano. E questo è il fiore del partigiano. Morte e libertà.
So I'm going to introduce the next one. It's Joe Hill. So this is about the framing of the Labour activist Joe Hill for a murder. So this was in 1925. Joe Hill, who wrote a lot of songs for the industrial workers of the world, which was a radical labor union in America at that time. It still exists and is around in America and in the UK. But he was a migrant worker, so he'd go around from place to place, and as he went, he'd write songs that about people's struggles and organized people's. But in Salt Lake City, when he arrived, he was organizing among the mine workers there, and at one point he got shot in a dispute with another person, and the mine owners used this to frame him for a murder that had happened at the same time. And despite like huge like national and international outcry about this, he was hanged in 1925. This was in 1915. Sorry, the song was written in 1925. I apologize. In 1925, Alfred Jones, I think, wrote, who was a Jewish labor activist, originally born in Britain but moved to America, labor activist and songwriter, moved to America when he was 3, who wrote this poem about his life, which was Sex and Music, it's Alfred Hayes. That's his name. Alfred Hayes. And it was set to music in 1950, I think, by Earl Robinson, who was a songwriter and who was a member of the Communist Party of America. But very connected with like the socialist struggles at the time. He set it to music, and it's become like a song which is a symbol of resistance, and it's also commonly sung at the funerals of leftists of left-wing people as well. Like as a memorial celebration of life, and that this struggle continues on. But yeah. And it's quite easy to pick up the tune. Every verse has to be like the same sort of. So I'll get 1, 2.
I dreamed I saw you last night, alive as you and me. Says I but your tiny said, I never died, says he. I never died, says he. In Salt Lake City, says I, standing by my bed. They bring you one and make shots, says Joe, but I'm dead. Says Joe, but I'm dead. The carpet boss is killed you, Joe. They shot you, Joe, says I. Takes more than guns to kill a man, says Joe, I didn't die. Says Joe, I didn't die. I'm standing there, as big as life, and smiling with his eyes. Take as Joe what they can never give. When from San Diego up to Maine, in every mile is near, where workers fight and organize. It's where you find your fear. It's where you'll find your fear. I dreamed I saw you last night, alive with you for me. Says I with John, your 10 years dead. I never died, says he. I never died, says he.
Okay, it's my turn, and I am far too foreign to be introducing this song, but here we are. This is the Jelly Piece song, which was written in, I think, the 1960s, and it's about the sort of clearances of the so-called slums that were the tenements, and many of us still live in them and love them or not. And they had started building high-rises further out of the city, and that includes Castle Milk, which is referenced in the song. But there were a lot of sort of upset about this because there was a lot of community could happen within tenements. You're closer to your neighbors. They're all able to look down and see the kids playing in the backyards. So when people moved further out and they couldn't do that, they couldn't see down to the kids playing, and So the song is sort of from a child's perspective, and it's basically protesting that move from the more community-based tenement living to the high rises where there wasn't necessarily the infrastructure and community space that there had been.
And one of the things is that from the close
Oh, yeah.
balconies, you could throw sandwiches down to the kids playing to have a lunch.
Yeah, there is a lot of translations for this song as well. People don't know Glaswegian very well. So a Wayne is a child. 19th Flower is floor. I'm not going to do every single one. You'll get the accent. Pieces are sandwiches. Jelly is jam. Hoeversburn is a type of bread. Are there any other ones that I've missed?
No,
They're
peace is the important one.
Piece is the important
Piece.
word.
They can't throw the pieces out of the 19th floor.
Yeah.
I think it's worth adding a bit of context as well, that the clearances were done without any community involvement. Like, it wasn't coming from the community that they wanted. It was very much like an authoritarian, this is, we know what's best for the people, we're going to do this, they are going to live like this. And there was a lot of problems with the high rises where people, like the large areas, as Sam said, no infrastructure, but it, like that kind of authoritarian, we know what's best, you will leave, those houses are cold, damp and drafty, which is true.
Yeah.
So we're going to build you these things. And people were like, no, this isn't.
Yeah. And they haven't necessarily worked out for the better. A whole lot of them have now been demolished again. So
They're also full of asbestos that they've never really moved.
yeah, there's a lot of questionable practices from the authorities, but I know, right? Anyway, this is a really fun one, especially if you have kids. So please join in. Also, for people who are watching, George Square is the centre of Glasgow, and it's where a lot of protests are. The city chambers are there, and so on. Gonna need some help starting this one. I'm a skyscraper when I live on the 19th floor, but I'm going to play anyway.
Since we moved to Castle Milk, I'm wasting away. 'Cause I'm getting one less meal every day. Oh yeah, can it fling pieces into 20-story flats? 700 hungry will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese, or chili, if the bread is plain or fat, the odds against it reaching up that 99 to 1. On the first day my mom threw a piece of Hoover's broom. The case got to the window, went up instead of doom. But every 27 hours it comes back into sight. Cause the piece went into orbit and became a satellite. Oh, you can't fling pieces into 20-story flat. 700 hungry waves will testify to that. It's butter, cheese, or jelly, the bread is plain or pan. The odds against it reaching up the 99 to 1. On the second day, my mom found me a piece of once again. It went and hit the pilot in a fast-low flying plane. He scraped it off his gobble, shouting through the intercom. The clouds are red, so I got me with a beard and jelly bomb. Oh, you can to 20-story flats. 700 hungry will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese, or jelly, if the bread is plain or pan, the odds against it reaching up the 99 to 1. On the third day, my mother thought she would try another throw. The Salvation Army band was coming down below. On the Christian soldiers was the police station place. But the other man was playing a piece of Malay. Oh, yeah, and they played pieces
20-story flat. 7
Ladies will testify to that.
if it's butter,
cheese or jelly, if the bread is right or pan,
the odds against him reaching up that 19 to 1. We broke away to try and get some eggs. And all the wickets in Castle Milk can form the Peace Brigade.
We're going to march to George's Square to demand his civil rights.
Lightning, who's for peace in the heights. Oh, yeah, can it be? This is not a 20-story flat. 700 hungry days. It's butter, cheese or jelly, if the bread is not pan. The odds against it, reaching up the 99 to 1. Oh, it's me again. That's right. So this song is much newer, and we don't actually know a great deal about the history of it. It was written by someone called Ellen Wally and released again by the Commoners Choir in 2020, which is the version I'm most familiar with. It references a lot of different social things that have happened in the past, connecting a lot of previous history and struggles that people have been through, kind of up to the present day. I'm not going to go through all of them because they are all there and people can sort of look into them as they like, but Stonewall riots, I think everyone here probably knows about. Pendle witches, burning of people trying to look after each other, basically. And the Jarrow marches, again, were sort of protests about unemployment. And this is probably your sort of thing. Considered a sort of a big factor in the social changes that happened in Britain post-World War II. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but
No, it was. Yeah. It was one of like the big labor protests. It's very interesting because how there was different reactions because it was like I think this was during what was his name? But like one of the very first, Labour PM who was a complete traitor to the movement. But it's been many, but was in power at the time. So what you had some Conservative MPs supporting the Jarrow marches and some Labour MPs opposing it, which is incredibly weird. But
it is, isn't it? Wild times. But yeah, it's also sort of referencing suffragettes and the women's rights movement, Cable Street, which was a sort of the Battle of Cable Street was a big sort of fight between a fascist march coming through the East End of London and people who were opposed to it. Mostly local, as I understand, it was not organised anti-fascist as such. It was people who were in the area who were like, no, we do not want this.
Large Jewish contingent.
Yeah, that's true.
just very deliberately marching through Jewish communities.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And then people like Paul Tyler and Diggers and the Levelers, there are actually books on them here. I've been perusing them, they're quite good. And yeah, everything in the song. Oh, and yeah, the miners' strikes as well. So it's, yeah, a really nice song in that you can also add to it, and that's something we probably won't have time for today, or will we? But
You guys.
it is,
So probably afterwards we'll maybe do a thing where people can kind of like say in names and we can add to the who is it.
yeah,
But we'll get feel for the song first and then we'll do a version where we're at.
yeah, can add to it later. It's really fun. Anyway, it's I love this song because it's so threatening lullaby. Such a great vibe. Shall we go? Ready? Sorry, I don't count then.
1, 2, 3.
We are the descendants of the Stonewall rioters, and we are coming for you. We are the descendants of the Pendle witches, and we are coming for you. Wayward daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done. Things you've done. We are the descendants of the Jeffersons, and we are coming for you. We are the descendants of the suffragette martyrs, and we are coming for you. We are the descendants of the old one Tyler, and we are coming for you. Wayward daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done. Things you've done. We are the descendants of the war resistance, and we are coming for you. We are the descendants of the diggers and the levelers, and we are coming for you. We are the descendants of the Cable Street fighters, and we are coming for you. Wayward daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done, things you've done. We are the descendants of the striking miners, and we are coming for you. We are coming for you. We are coming for you.
So does anyone have any like up-to-date struggles or historical struggles they'd also like to celebrate us being in connection with?
Can I have a think on it while we do our last song?
General trophies, like,
Thanks. General strikers. We'll maybe go down to the rest of them.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so cool. So I'll introduce Big Rock Candy Mountain, but yeah, do keep thinking on struggles we'd like to add to the Descendants song. We'll finish with that. But so the Big Rock Candy Mountain was written in the 1890s by Harry McClintock. He was what people who were doing that referred to themselves as hobos, meaning migrant workers traveling around the US on trains mostly. And he wrote this song basically combining little bits and pieces of songs that were sung by those people for many decades into this song, Big Rock Candy Mountain. And it's basically, the other name for the song is Hobo's Paradise. And it's basically, imagine it there, the vision of these people's image of paradise, and it includes hens that lay soft-boiled eggs and cigarette trees. So enjoy this also light-hearted history song. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fire was burning, I came home hiking and he said, boys, I'm not turning. I'm headed to the land that's far away, besides the crystal fountains. So come with me, we'll go and see the Big Rock Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, there's a land that's fair and proud, where the hamlets grow on bushes and you sleep out every night, where the boxcars all are empty and the sun shines every day. And the birds and the bees and the cigarette trees, the lemonade springs where the bluebird sings in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, all the cops have wooden legs, and the bulldogs all have round teeth, and the hens lay soft-boiled eggs.
The farmer's trees are full of fruits, and the barns are full of hay.
Oh, I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, where the rain don't fall, and the winds don't blow in the big rock candy
Mountains. In the big rock candy mountains,
You never change your socks,
and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. The brakemen have to tip their hats,
and the railway bulls are blind.
There's a lake of stew and a whiskey too. You can paddle around in a big canoe in the big rock candy mountains. In the big rock candy mountains, the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again as soon as you are in. There ain't no short-handled shovels, no axes, saws, or picks. I'm going to stay where you sleep all day, where they hunt the truck that invented work in the big rock candy mountains. I'll see you all this coming fall in the big rock candy mountains. That one never gets old. Yeah.
Do you want to? I was thinking we've got a poster up that has Anna, who's Max, do you want to talk about Anna? We could add her to the December song.
Oh,
Maybe the Rahava artist.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, no, she was
Sorry, that was a
she
bit-
was, yeah, she was, I was trying to think of how to talk about it. Yeah, she was from Brighton, moved to Bristol, did a lot of like stuff around like prisoner solidarity and like rape to prisoners and hunt stabbing, and she got involved kind of about sort of like the Kurdish struggle and went over to with her I think about 6 years ago now. She died 5 years ago. She was killed. It was when Turkey was invading Afrin in northern Syria. Oh, that goes down. And she was protecting sort of like people that were leaving the city. And she got killed in an airstrike there. But yeah, she was always a very lovely person. She was maybe about, she was in her mid-20s at the time. She was gay and yeah, was really lovely and friendly to everyone and just really welcoming and involved lots of different struggles. Yeah, but it's inspired a lot of people. She's inspired a lot of people still. Keep meeting people that are sort of like getting involved with doing activist struggles because of her, which is really great. Yeah.
Has she got a, because Anna doesn't scan, so has she got like a second name or a Bristol Anna or
Anna Campbell.
Anna Campbell? Anna Campbell scans.
Yeah, like that does work.
Yeah, descendants of Anna
Um,
General strikers.
general strikers.
Nice. Red cloud blades.
Of the what? So the
Red cloud
red cloud side. Well, that's one verse. This is probably where we could have done the bushing impact. Never mind.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's one verse. I've already done. Kenmure Street.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if anyone knows that the streets.
Father Radnan is was taken in the state.
Say again her name.
Father Radnan.
Hadi.
He led the kind of mass hunger strikes in 2012-13 of Palestinian political prisoners, most of whom were on administrative detention. He was one of the first, him and a woman called Hannah Shalaby, kind of kicked off this mass hunger strike movement in Israeli prisons. And since then, he was arrested multiple times and went on multiple hunger strikes and died less than a month ago on hunger strike in Israeli jail. While still on hunger strike. He was the first one since the 80s to pass away.
Thank you for yeah, cool. Thank you. So if we do one more, we've got two verses of new additions. Well, I can see a book about Rosa Luxemburg, so how about we pop her in?
Don't work out to make Warsaw Ghetto.
We are sensible ones, so-
Yeah, I'm trying to think behind us, but yeah,
Also, the book, and then
Warsaw Ghetto.
That's just survivors instead.
What's the treatment in the States for getting treatment for getting HIV treatments?
actor of the ACT movement. Okay, at least on mine, that's the song, the game, all placed.
Amazing.
Also get the actor.
You might have to just shout at the beginning of each line, which we can do each line.
Okay, cool. All right.
Cool.
So, if we go through this song, I'll leave the singing and I'll give a little shout of what we're going to all sing together at the end of that line.
Okay, are we ready?
Warsaw Ghetto.
We are the
Descendants of the Warsaw Ghetto, and we are coming for you.
ACT movement.
We are the descendants of the ACT movement, and we are coming for you. Wayward daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done, things you've done. We are the descendants of ACT, and we are coming for you.
Street.
We are the descendants of the Kenya Street, and we are coming for you.
Rosa Luxemburg.
We are the descendants of Rosa Luxemburg, and we are coming for you. We are the daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done, things you've done. We are the descendants of the Campbell, and we are coming for you.
Right side.
We are the descendants of the right side, and we are coming for you.
General strikers.
We are the descendants of the general strikers, and we are coming for you. Wayward daughters, renegade sons, come to take revenge for the things you've done, things you've done. We are the descendants of striking minds, and we are coming for you. We are coming for you. We are coming for you.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome for off the cuff.
Yeah,
Like
cool.
adding to a song.
Are we ready to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remind
Oh, yeah.
Red and Black Song Club. So we're going to meet tomorrow evening. No,
Yeah.
Monday evening. not
Monday
tomorrow.
evening. Oh, of course.
This Monday evening, 7 p.m. at the Space, which is on London Road. And then every second Monday for like 2 weeks time as well. And very welcoming, chill group.
Yeah.
And fun history.
We have
Welcome,
Facebook.
everyone.
We have Facebook apparently.
We do.
We normally have cups of tea as well.
There's definitely do.
There we go. That sounds good. Hopefully she's already there.
Say goodbye.